Day, the man who led Ipswich to that honour, now England's manager Bobby Robson, just back from Poland, sorting out our World Cup details. More about that later, but those were heady days, Bob, weren't they?
Well, they were, and they were very happy days because naturally they were successful, but a lot of class players, and they were days never to be forgotten.
Well, maybe they're just around the corner again. We shall see. Obviously, we're here to see the third-round FA Cup tie between Ipswich Town and Manchester United. And in some ways, it's the perfect cup tie. Partly because Ipswich are very strong at home in the second division and have nothing to lose. And partly because Manchester United have been seen to be sometimes still vulnerable as Alex Ferguson tries to stiffen the backbone of his multi-talented group of players. Well, here's the Ipswich team. What do you think about those, Bob?
Yes, well, they've done very well at home this season, and they will be difficult to beat, and certainly here today they will be. They're a most workmanlike side, there isn't any question about that. The side is built on that, I think.
A lot of homegrown players.
Indeed. John Duncan has bought one or two, but a lot of home-produced players. In particular, I like Ian Cranston, who's a solid centre-half, very young. He's been here a number of years, but he's played in the first division, and he can stand up to that sort of pressure. Exceptionally quick. Will bite into the tackle when the ball is laid up to the centre forward. Exceptionally strong in the air too, if I may say that. And he will be a good situation. It'll be a good situation rather between him and maybe Whiteside. I think he'll set his sights on Whiteside this afternoon. That will be interesting. Now, what about up front in that sense? Well, they need to score goals to win the match. I mean, Cranston will help to save the game. David Lowe, I like particularly. John Duncan bought him from Wigan. He's got a bit of pace, which is eye-catching, and if he gets a yard ahead of himself, you know, in front of the defender, they won't catch him. And the lovely thing about him, too, is that he seems to be able to stay cool. He gets in those goal-scoring positions, he's got a nice, cool brain, and he seems as though he can slot it home. So, if he gets half a chance today, I think he'll try.
He might be the match winner and the man of the match. Well, let's have a look at the Manchester United team now. And we think probably that Duxbury is going to play in the left-back position there. He's in at number 3. And probably Gibson move left-side midfield to push Whiteside up front. But the two players that interest me show a little bit of the character of Alex Ferguson, I think, particularly Chris Turner, the goalkeeper. He's got his chance again because, first of all, Alex gave Gary Walsh, a young player, a chance. I mean, most fans think all you do these days is go out and spend £1 million and buy the best goalkeeper in England. But Alex Ferguson, I think, believes in other things. But when Gary Walsh got concussed in Bermuda, this lad got his chance again. And he's been in superlative form. And last week, I think he won in the match against Watford. Now, up front shows that Alex not frightened to spend money when he knows he's right. And I must say, when I first saw this lad, and you saw him too, play against England at Hampden last year for Scotland, I thought he made a mistake. He didn't seem to get in the game at all, but my goodness, how wrong I was. He loves the responsibility of scoring goals. He likes to get in front of goal and make the goalkeeper look silly. Some strikers just are a little bit fragile when it comes to taking that responsibility. Not him, and he will be the first player since George Best to get over 20 goals for Manchester United in the league. That's my prediction. Now, there's some of the cast, Bob. What about the result?
Well, my heart, obviously, with respect to the Manchester United supporters, says Ipswich. My head says Manchester United. My tie, Jim, is red and blue, and it says a draw. So I think that could be the outcome of the day.
Yeah. A draw, and of course that financially wouldn't be so bad for Ipswich because they would then
not at all, but they won't sit on anything here today. They know their best chance of winning this match is here today at Portman Road, you know. They've got a good crowd. It's recaptured old times here today. Marvellous atmosphere. And the crowd are ready to get behind the team. The players know that. John Duncan will have stirred the team up. Charlie Woods, the coach here, who's been here for many years, has seen days like this. And together they'll be driving that Ipswich team on.
I can feel you're still doing it
well,
now.
The
excitement is still there.
I must try and remain unbiased.
Remain unbiased. We'll enjoy the match, and I hope everybody else does. First of all, just let me tell you that the last time of listening anyway, Port Vale and Macclesfield were 0-0. That's very near half-time in that third-round FA Cup tie. Well, now it's time to join Trevor Brooking, playing in a different position this week. He's alongside match commentator John Motson.
Yes, Jimmy, a seat I've sat in many times here at Portman Road, and I got the impression there Bobby Robson really thrilled to see the stands and terraces swelling again at the club that he did so much to build. You've mentioned the FA Cup success here 10 years ago, but what's also chronicled is that Ipswich were in the top 6 in Division 1 and in Europe let it be said, 9 years out of 10. And what the club did so well on such modest resources in Bobby Robson's time here, these were great days. And another great day perhaps in prospect. Brian Robson of Manchester United, Ian Atkins, the captain of Ipswich Town. In those days that I was talking about, teams of the majesty of Manchester United seem to be coming down to Suffolk every other week. And I have to say, Trevor Brooking, who's with me today, as the teams line up, the crowd is humming with the slightly breathless expectancy that only the FA Cup can really engender.
That's right, great atmosphere, and I think everyone looks back to yesterday when we expect 1 or 2 upsets, and there haven't been any up to now, and I think the Ipswich folk are hoping that perhaps they're going to win this one this afternoon. Certainly, it's all set up for a terrific cup tie.